Hey, welcome back to another episode of 3-2 Count Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Blaine Arsenal, and this is the second episode of our coaches interview installment. And joining me today is St. Martinville Senior High assistant baseball coach Josh Delahousie. What's going on, Josh?
What's happening, bub?
Not much. And the guy at the top right, we've been trying to do this for a while. We finally got to do it. Too bad he's leaving soon. But former Port Barre High baseball coach Tyler Stevens. What's going on, Coach?
Happy good, man. Happy to finally get on with you. I know we've been working on it pretty much feels like the whole baseball season, but finally got to get it in.
Yeah, we finally get to get in. As you get started with it. For those that don't know you, Coach, your background, playing, coaching, all that good stuff.
Yeah, man, I got started coaching at a young age. I was 21, actually, when I started coaching. My dad was the head baseball coach over here, needed a lot of help, so started helping him out. So I was actually coaching players that I played with. When I got into college, I thought I was a good baseball player. Went try out at LSUE and quickly found out that I was not a good baseball player, and that I probably should get into coaching if I want to stay in the game. So bounced into coaching. Started off, believe it or not, coaching at St. Genevieve, little Turtles feeder school. Did that for a season, and then came back to Port Barre. Was assistant for about 3 or 4 years, and finished up school. And then my dad slid into the AD/football spot, and I was able to become the head baseball coach, and I've been the head coach over here for the last 8 seasons.
Awesome. I guess I'll ask everybody this when they get on. Who was your inspiration to coaching?
Well, obviously, like I said, I grew up in a baseball family and a coaching family. Always been around coaching, and I grew up at the field down the road at Port Barre High. So basically, I knew when I was like in 7th grade that I wanted to be a coach. Didn't want to do anything else since I was younger. Always fell in love with just being able to be around the guys and just be at the field and do all those little things that you get to do when you're a baseball player. Believe it or not, I actually kind of like the bus trips a little bit, even though most coaches hate them with a passion. But I enjoy the bus trips. I enjoy, even though my players clown me more than anything, I enjoy mowing the grass. I enjoy edging the field. I enjoy all that stuff about baseball. And to me, like, the games are just kind of a bonus because, I get to be at practice every single day and do things I love. And it's just kind of that my dad brought that on to me, and then I was able to, get with a lot of coaches over the years that, like Coach Phillips at Eunice, who everybody, looks up to. And, if they talk to him, he's an amazing person. And, I always had coaches around here like Paul Longclose. He doesn't do anything with baseball, but he always helped me along the way. But I would say my dad is probably the biggest and by far the most supportive person of me, and also the person that drew me into coaching. Every time I win or lose a game, me and him talk on the way back home. So we have long talks about the game, and sometimes he doesn't make me feel good about the game because Blaine knows my dad. He'll critique me on man, why did you bunt the second inning with 1 out when you had your 3-hole hitter up? And I'm just like, oh man, but it makes me better as a coach because he'll test me and I'll be able to think about a certain situation. But definitely he's the person that got me into coaching and also helps me get through coaching, especially with the ups and downs it gets that y'all know more than anybody that every season has ups and downs, and you might have one part of the season where you're like, man, why am I even coaching? And then you have another part of the season where you're like, this is the best thing ever. So, yeah, definitely, man. That's definitely the people I look up to for sure.
Other than your
I was
dad,
gonna ask him something
go
real
ahead.
quick, Blaine.
Go ahead.
So
You go.
just since we're talking about that, so like when it comes to like your actual coaching style, if you want to call it that,
Yeah.
Who, I guess, do you pull from when you were basically making, your philosophy and
Yeah.
your style of coaching?
Yeah, so I pull off like a few coaches I know, just because so my dad was very like detail oriented, which I kind of am to extent for practices and everything like that. And he also like um made sure you had energy every single day at practice and in the games. He didn't want you to be flat ever. Like that was always a big thing. Man, I've pulled stuff from everybody, to be honest, over the years. Like, you know how it is when you first start off, you go to like the coaching clinic and you have like 15 pages of notes, and
Mm-hmm.
then you're like, I'm bringing this every single thing with me. And then you get to practice and you're like, wait, I don't have this equipment that they're using at
Right.
LSU, so I can't do this.
Yeah.
So it's more like started tapping in the high school coaches. So like Bro Bridge does a great job of the bunt game and everything like that. So Kyle Cormier and Gabe, I like ask them what they do to get better at bunting because I feel like bunting is a huge part of high school baseball. Coach Phillips at Eunice, like again, has helped me out a lot on more just like the way you present yourself too, because he always told me like make sure you act like somebody's filming you 24/7 whenever you're doing things, so that kind of mindset. But also like man, I'm kind of weird and I just watch like YouTube videos of old like Augie Garrido and Nick Saban and
Sure.
just kind of how
Best coach
just
ever. Best coach ever.
oh dude that
Easy,
yeah,
easy,
I
easy.
knew that Texas pool would get you freaking flooded. But
Oh yeah, dude.
but it's more just like basically, like I've always said, I always wanted to coach the person first and baseball second. So I want to make sure they, first of all, know I care about them, and I want them to know that I'm thinking about them outside of sports. And I feel like doing that helps them play harder for you in the end. So if you're like worried about their grades and what's going on outside the field first, and you look at them as a person first, and just use like baseball as an avenue to make better men, I feel like you're a better coach. And it took me a little while to figure out that because my first year as a head coach, I'm like, the only reason Port Barre didn't win a state championship because Tyler Stevens wasn't a baseball coach. And then you've learned very quickly that ain't the case. But I think my whole philosophy is try to get them to be better people, and then slowly but surely throw in the baseball stuff that I love. Like I love defense. I love controlling the bunt game as much as possible. So it's more just using those other coaches the way they, like I said, just treating them like, like they're my sons. They're at the end of the day, I tell them all the time, like, look, because of y'all, I get to do the thing I love. So and I feel like we've done that over the years, and a lot of kids play harder for us because they know we truly do care about them at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's awesome.
Going back to your philosophy, he asked, how
Hmm.
does the travel ball mentality? How does kids in your program? Hold on, let me rephrase it. How do you feel about travel ball player? How do you feel about travel ball mentality affecting the kids going into your program? Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I mean, I get what you're saying, like almost like the individual side of
Yeah,
baseball now.
yeah.
Um, I have a love and hate relationship with travel ball. Like I understand travel ball is great because your kids get to play high level competition, but at the end of the day, like you're saying, it's individualized at this point. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
we in the past have used travel ball as almost using it as a individual thing for them when they leave. So you like kind of want to tell them, go get your at bats. Go do what you got to do to get better as a hitter. When you get back to us, we'll do the bunting stuff and the small ball game and doing that thing. But I'd rather them go try to rip doubles and get better at the plate in a travel ball game. And then whenever we get back in the fall, we'll start breaking down swings more and start explaining to them that and start reassuring them in like basically like inter squad and stuff like, look, there's a runner at third with less than one out. We're gonna play to your strength though. If you're a ground ball line drive hitter, we're trying to hit the ball up the middle and we're trying to score a run. If you're a power hitter, yeah, let's elevate the baseball and let's go try to drive them in that way. So I don't think we should handcuff players just because they play travel ball, but at the same time, That's hitters. Now a pitcher, I want to make sure I know the organization they're in, because I don't want them going throw 120 pitches on a Saturday, and they just went through a whole high school season with us. So usually our pitchers, we're more, I guess, communicating with them and telling them like, look, we feel that you should shut down at this amount of pitches on the weekends during the summer. Please communicate with with your coach. If there's a problem, tell your coach to contact me or Brandon Guidry, who's been our pitching coach. Like, you need to contact one of us, and we'll get it squared away. Because at the end of the day, if you win a 2D tournament at UL, does it really matter?
Right.
Or why don't we just use this as a development, which what it is? So I mean, like, that's the love hate I have with it. It's a good thing because our kids get to go play good competition and get better, but we also don't want them to be on that travel ball team where the coach is trying to win a trophy that's going to get thrown in his garage on a Saturday. So it's more just communication to me is the biggest key with travel ball, more than anything. I mean, that's the way I look at it. You should
And
you
that,
should use it as a tool and more than aggravate you.
right. I think on the other end of that spectrum too, especially when you have those younger kids that are coming into your program that are coming from travel ball. So whether it's Dixie Youth or 2D, like whatever it is that they're playing, and these kids are so worried about how many pitches that they throw. So they get to 45, 50, 60 pitches, whatever it is, man. And if, again, depending on what the situation is, they're telling themselves like, okay, I need to shut down now where they're in a dogfight. You've ramped them up. They're at the point now where they should be able to extend a little bit longer, but you're also having to overcome boundaries where these kids are having a mindset of like, well, I'm at 50, 60 pitches. Like, I can't go no more. They
Yeah,
don't necessarily want to push their ceilings anymore. So, like, that's the double-edged sword that I find as well with travel ball, especially like with younger kids. Older kids, not as
yeah.
much though.
See, Brandon's done a good job of. So we've been inter squatting more the past like 3 or 4 years, but in the fall, whenever we get guys from football, and the restrictions for practice have been better for baseball. So he does a good job of. We try to communicate to the kids. This is why we're shutting you down at this time of the year, so they can
Right.
understand. They can understand better the ramp up on your arm and understand that, look, it's not because you're doing bad, it's because we want you here at this time, and then whenever we start in February, you might not be throwing 100 pitches, but you could be at 75 to 80, and we want you there. So kind of map out to them what we expect from you, and basically just lay down the expectations we have for them, and just be honest with them on where they're at and what we want from them, and it makes things a lot easier on our end.
Right.
Awesome. Coach, let's talk about the 2025 season, the ups and downs you had. I think y'all second round playoff team last year.
No, we lost in the first round.
First
We
round. I'm
went to
sorry.
3 games. We went to 3 games against not Pine Prairie, but Pine, and by the Mississippi border.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah, the last year, man, we won game one. Game two, I think we lost by 2 runs, and we had a weird play at the plate that the umpires ruled that our batter was out. They call it batter's interference on a pass ball, and it kind of threw the inning out of loop, and then we ended up losing. This year, unfortunately, we were placing a lot of I say experience. I wouldn't say so. We were playing a lot of guys that it was their first year playing in that position on the varsity level. They played baseball, obviously, but it was their first year in varsity contest, and it's a big difference from JV to varsity. It's a step up for sure. We lost a lot of 2 1-run baseball games the whole year. It kind of made me sick to my stomach looking back at Game Changer I was looking through stats and stuff. Man, we lost, I want to say 15 games that were 3 runs or less. So we were right there in every single game. We were competing, but I think this season it kind of reflected what I love to coach more than anything is defense. Like, I love playing good defense, and we play good defense, but we didn't hit very well. So we had struggle scoring with runners in scoring position, and I scheduled very tough like I always do. Blaine knows about my schedule that we do over here. We don't run away from people. I mean, we had Southside week 2. I mean, and we're a 2A school, and we played 3 5A teams in 1 week. So I mean, it's just one of those years where we were in every game, but we just couldn't finish those games. And to be honest, the team they have coming back next year is going to be seasoned now because they have some guys that have a full season under their belt, and they'll be able to contribute more next year, which is a good thing. And it was, a emotional year for me for sure. I've been in the program either as a player or a coach. I think it was 16 years. So half of my life I've been at the OG track playing baseball or coaching baseball. So not only was it a rough season on like playing wise, but also too that last game was really rough for me and my family. Not necessarily like we were just more sad that it's over kind of thing. But I'm excited for the program, the future of our program, which is a good thing. It's not gonna fall off. The things that we've built over here over the years with all the coaches I've had with me and all our community and everything. Port Barre baseball is definitely alive and well. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Can you tell us about your coaching staff that you had this year and in the previous years?
Yeah. So my first year, I started off with one of the legends of baseball, Shane Reed. Uh, he was something else to coach with, and I loved coaching with Shane. And I got to coach his son, Landon, which was always fun to do. And also I had John Hardy, who was with me that the next year, and well, y'all know the legend Jordy Taylor was with us for a couple of years before he went on the other side of the complex, the athletic complex of Port Barre, and went to softball. And then we had Coach Caleb this year. He just came on with us. He's a new coach at Port Barre High School. And then basically my rock and the guy that's helped me out the most was Brandon Guidry, who's actually going to be our new head baseball coach over here. Brandon helped me out so much, man. Needed a pitching guy because at one time I was calling pitches, moving the defense around, and everything. Like I was literally like my head was spin between every batter because when you're doing everything at one time. And Brandon's been a blessing for me. Became a great friend to me. Can't say enough good things about him. I'm so happy for him to get the head job here. He's kind of like me. He wanted to, this is like our school. We want to make it as good as possible. But yeah, man, that's some of the guys that have helped me over the years, and can't say enough about every person that's helped me coaching here because it's not about like me. Like I was just the head of the whole thing. It took all of those people to make it to where it is now, and I can't say enough. Like my dad had to throw on a uniform once or twice and come coach first for us because I had CCP guys with me, so I didn't have guys on staff my first couple of years, and I had to go joke with them and say, I hope you have your pants that still fit you in your back closet because like I don't have a first base coach today. So he had to put on his uniform again and go coach a few times at first. But man, y'all know, I mean, Blaine, you've been a head coach and y'all been assistants. Like without a good coaching staff, like with a good coaching staff, it makes your season, even if you're losing, go by so much better. And you don't feel like the whole ship is sinking. So I can't thank all those coaches enough for helping me over the years and making our program better and just making my life a lot easier.
Yeah, a good staff truly makes your life easier when it comes to the grind of baseball. Every coach knows that high school season is a grind from August to May or whenever you stop. So a good staff is really important.
Yeah, definitely,
Hey,
man.
Tyler, let me ask you this, man, just because we kind of went through something similar this year with our schedule, but when you kind of have, you don't want to call it a losing streak, but let's call it a losing streak, kind of like what y'all had, and we had the same thing, man. How did you go about keeping your guys engaged and keeping them in the fight game after game? Because it's tough, man. Like
Yeah.
when you start going on
So
skids, like it's really tough to stay, in a good mental space.
see, the good thing about us is over the years, like, I mean, we've won 11 games and hosted playoff games. So we've had losing records multiple times and hosted because of our schedule being so tough. And, you know, like our basketball coach a couple of years ago looked at me and he was like looking at the Go Preps and he was like, how the hell y'all rank number 12? Y'all have 6 wins and y'all have 12 losses. And I'll always mess with him. I was like, you got to schedule smart, baby. You got to schedule smart. But it's more just like making them understand that, like, especially like we had a losing streak this year, and we're going into the game at Iota, and we're going to play at UL, and it's more like explaining to them like the good losing streaks are like, guys, we're in every single game, we're playing good baseball, we just got to get these few things in line, and we did that against Iota. We ended up beating them, but there are those times that you, like you're saying, you're just playing bad, and sometimes I've always found that you just have to have either a break or you need to have one of those practices where you just go have fun and you just go play baseball and you get things kind of revamped back. And I've been lucky to have over the years have some older guys that kind of understand our schedule and understand that, like, look, if we get to 10 wins, we're going to be hosting or we're going to be close to hosting. So they still have that in their back of their mind that, like, all right, we're at 6 wins and we have 15 games left. Like, we're fine, you know? So I think it's more just educating your kids on the power rankings and making them understand where you're at if you have a tough schedule, but also too, just, I mean, it goes back to like how you coach them is if they're going to be able to be engaged with you all the time too, and also too, like, I find communicating with them a lot, not necessarily right after the game, but when you get back to practice the next day, communicating with them like this is where we're at, and just having that sense of urgency, like, okay, if y'all do this, we're in the playoffs, or if you do this, we're hosting. So it kind of lights a fire back underneath them, like, oh shit, like, you know, if we win the next 3 games, or in 3 of the next 5 games, we're back in the host spot. So it's almost like resetting your goals every now and then and explaining to them what they can do to boost themselves up. And usually a high school kid, if they hear playoffs or hosting, they get back up and they start, at least I've had the experience over here, is if they hear playoffs or hosting again, they get excited again. And for some reason, I don't know if it's a small town thing, but if you tell them that you're going to be staying in a hotel over here, they get so excited. It's unreal, even though they've all stayed in hotels. It's the weirdest thing ever. Like, they were so excited that we were staying in a hotel at Berwick, Louisiana, that got them going. So I guess it just all depends on the kids you have and what can excite them.
Yeah,
Yep.
I like that.
Well, that's a segue to my next question. What's your thoughts on the current LHSA system?
I can't hear you.
I said, what's your thoughts on the current LHSA system? You hear me? You can hear me?
Hey, can you hear me, Tyler? Guess not.
Well, he probably dropped out to come back in.
Got you. How
You
about
hear
you,
me now?
Tyler?
Some technical difficulties right here.
Right. Nothing, Tyler. No? It's like good old Port Barre cell service for you right there.
Let me see. I might drop him and bring him back in. You can hear us now?
No. Nope. No bueno.
Let me see if I can end the stream and then bring it back.